Welcome to the Survivalist Prepper Academy Intro to Prepping Course 101. You've taken the biggest step so far by deciding to take your own future in your hands and not rely on government or any other outside source for your survival. As a matter of fact, the definition of a prepper is just that, an individual or group that prepares or makes preparation in advance of or prior to any change in normal circumstances without substantial resources from outside sources. When you first become interested in prepping, you start to realize that everything is not all sunshine and roses and nothing is guaranteed, and nothing is as wonderful as they would like us to believe it is. You begin to realize that our comfortable little society is not very stable at all, and when you look through history, you realize that all societies collapse at one point or another. What took 1,000 years back then might take 100 years these days. And with all the advances we've made with medicine and technology, and not all of them bad, we have become kind of complacent and dependent upon it. Most people don't fully understand how brittle this society really is, especially with all the population growth and technological advances. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that everything is going to crumble in the next few months or weeks or anything like that, or our country is on the brink of a collapse. But I'm not willing to say that a SHTF scenario isn't a very real possibility. Something could happen tomorrow for all we know. It's like when we hop into our car and we head to work. We have no doubt we're going to make it there. But then all of a sudden something unexpected happens, and it could be something simple like a flat tire or an accident that leaves you injured or possibly worse. Or like this picture, somebody drives into your house. So the same thing goes for larger scale events. We get complacent because not very much changes in our day-to-day lives. We can go on for years without anything terrible happening to us. And then one day, when we least expect it, something like 9/11 happens that changes our lives and causes us to think completely different about the world around us. In this course, we're going to go through some of the basic steps of becoming more aware about these scenarios and some of the different acronyms you'll hear. You'll hear TOTWAKI and SHTF and all of those and get kind of confused. So we'll go through what all of those mean and where to start preparing and how to do it without getting overwhelmed with all the information out there. We're also going to put together a kind of a plan for you and a budget that you can put in place to kind of help you build up to that point. And then after that, we'll go over how to start building your supplies and your skills and become better prepared. Think of your journey to preparedness like walking into a library. When you first walk in, you see shelves full of books everywhere and you have no idea where to start. And knowing where to start can be a critical time-saving and money-saving step. This course will help remove some of the confusion and help you try to figure out what you need to learn and when you need to learn it, and what you need to put kind of on the back burner for a little bit later. Just-in-time learning is what I call it, and just-in-time learning is crucial because you don't want to put the cart before the horse, so to speak. It really does no good to research the best kind of long-term food storage if you don't already have a few weeks worth of food already stored that you eat every day. And we'll go into some more detail about eating what you store and storing what you eat, because it does no good to have a bunch of MRAs if your family's not going to eat it. The fact that you chose to look into prepping and self-sufficiency show that you're ready to take personal responsibility for your safety and survival. And you'll hear all the time about all of these different tools and supplies that you're going to need. But to me, mindset is the most important and the first part of prepping. Knowing that no one cares about your survival more than you, and you can't depend on someone else to quote-unquote bail you out when the going gets rough is really the first part. As preppers, we need to look at the complete picture, the bigger picture. We need to prioritize the threats we feel are the most pertinent to our situation and prepare accordingly. And like I said, we need to focus on the big picture and not put all our eggs into one basket, not put all our energy into one area like food storage and then forget about having clean drinking water, because 3 months worth of food is going to do you absolutely no good if you only have enough water to last, say, a week or so. And this course, we're not only going to go over how to budget and plan for large-scale disasters, but I'll also show you how to make a list and start building that stockpile of supplies and do it evenly. And what you want to do is always start small and work your way up. And keep in mind that everyone's situation is different, so the supplies that you're going to need are going to depend on your situation. And most importantly is the keeping your preps even part. Like I said, it does you no good to have a year's worth of food if you only have 1 month's worth of water. Now, food, water, and shelter are the most important aspects of prepping. You might have heard of the rule of threes. You can go 3 weeks without food, 3 days without water, 3 hours without shelter, and 3 minutes without air. Now, this seems pretty basic, but it's really a good rule to kind of keep in the back of your mind when you're building up your supplies. Now, food, water, and shelter are the most important aspects of prepping. Because if you don't have any one of these, you're kind of in for a tough go of it. And we all know why food and water is so important, but sometimes shelter gets overlooked because we all have homes and we all have places to live, so that part's taken care of, right? Well, not really, because we need to look at situations that could arise that require us to find shelter or to build shelter or to defend our shelter. So we'll go into some of those different aspects. And then food storage can be kind of tricky depending on your living situation and storage space. It can also be tough trying to stay organized and keeping your food from expiring. So I'll share with you what I've learned and some resources that can kind of point you in the right direction with your food storage and not having expired food all over the place. And water seems like an easy one, but this really couldn't be farther from the truth, because not all water is clean water, and water takes up a lot of space. So we need to know not only how to store water, but have the knowledge to filter and purify water. Everything else becomes obsolete if you don't have water, clean water. So we'll go into some detail about all three of these areas in this course and help you get a little more comfortable about where you should start building your supplies. And like I said before, we'll also go over how to organize and stay focused on the task at hand. If we don't enjoy what we're doing, and we don't see the puzzle coming together, as humans we kind of tend to get distracted and move on to something else. And we really can't afford to let this happen. We don't want to be the one saying, "What do you mean I'm out of water?" Or "I knew I should have kept building up my preps." The truth is, when done right, prepping turns into kind of like an addiction. And I'm not talking a crackhead kind of addiction. It's unlike most addictions, prepping could actually save your life. All right, so enough of this, right? Let's take some action and get started and start building our future. But remember, while you're doing this, take a step back, breathe, and think about prepping like building a house. If you don't have a good foundation to build your house on, the house probably won't be standing for long. And even though duct tape is amazing, you're going to need a lot of it and a lot of super glue to keep the walls up if you don't have a good foundation to build on in the first place. So like I said, enough of this. Let's dive into Module 1 and learn how to build a good foundation to start our journey of preparedness.